Taichi, Iori, Himeko, Yui and Yoshifumi are first-year students and members of their school's student cultural society. One day, Taichi, Iori and Himeko are engaged in a lively discussion seeking inspiration for a newsworthy topic for an upcoming article, until Yoshifumi and Yui make their entrance into the clubroom. Revealing an extraordinary claim, they insist that they underwent a temporary body swap the previous night. At first the two are not believed. However, their doubts are quickly dispelled when Iori ventures into a classroom to retrieve a notebook. A sudden turn of events unfolds as Taichi unexpectedly finds himself inhabiting Iori's body, encountering an awkward encounter with Maiko, the class president, who briefly expresses romantic interest. With this undeniable proof, Taichi and Iori devote the rest of the afternoon to persuading Himeko of the authenticity of their experience. Eventually, a remarkable twist occurs as Taichi and Iori switch back to their original bodies. The day concludes as the five friends bid farewell to the school, making their way home, still astounded by the mysterious events that transpired. The following morning, an astonishing turn of events takes place as Himeko, Yoshifumi, and Yui find themselves caught in a collective body swap, only to swiftly return to their original forms. Excused from their absence in class, the group's escapades take an unexpected twist when Taichi briefly switches places with Yui, leading to a fervent interrogation from Iori about the previous day's events while he occupied her body. In the midst of their perplexity, a mysterious figure approaches the gang, claiming to have swapped bodies with their homeroom teacher, Ryuzun. This enigmatic individual, who goes by the name Heartseed, takes responsibility for the body-swapping phenomenon, leaving the group with only a vague explanation before departing. A week later, the friends convene to discuss the best approach to handle this baffling situation without arousing suspicion from others. As Iori experiences another body swap, this time with Yoshifumi, she engages Taichi in a heartfelt conversation about the potential impact of these exchanges on their individual identities, before ultimately returning to her own body. The following day, an unexpected body swap occurs between Taichi and Himeko, leading them to unwittingly volunteer for off-campus cleaning duty alongside Maiko. Seizing this opportunity, Himeko decides to seek retribution against Taichi and boldly proclaims to Maiko, while inhabiting Taichi's body, that Iori belongs to her. Taichi confronts Himeko, seeking clarification regarding her words in front of Maiko. In this exchange, Himeko subtly suggests to Taichi that he holds deep feelings for Iori, while also expressing concerns about the potential consequences the body-swapping phenomenon may have on their relationships. Later, Taichi and Yoshifumi stumble upon a startling revelation, that Yui harbors a profound fear of men. This realization shakes the group, and later that night, the unexpected occurs as Taichi finds himself switching bodies with Yui. They rendezvous in a tranquil park, where Yui opens up about the traumatic incident that triggered her fear. She recounts the harrowing experience of nearly being subjected to assault during her middle school years, resulting in a belief that she could never overcome a man in combat. Driven by a genuine desire to aid her in conquering her fear, Taichi imparts a valuable lesson, and he teaches Yui that every man possesses a vulnerability in their crotch. Empowered by this newfound knowledge, Yui experiences a surge of confidence, emboldening her to rekindle her pursuit of martial arts. The next day, Yui takes brave steps forward, determined to reclaim her life. However, amidst these transformative moments, Himeko's sudden collapse jolts Taichi, casting an aura of uncertainty over their ongoing journey. Taichi and Iori, taking on the role of guardians, accompany Himeko on her journey home. However, the weight of the recent events compels Taichi to disclose the truth about his encounter with Yui the previous night, leaving Iori in a state of shock, as she had been oblivious to Yui's fear of men. Once they bid farewell to Himeko, Iori, seeking solace in Taichi's presence, reveals the troubles she endured due to her mother, Reika, frequently entering into new marriages. She recounts the strain of constantly adapting her persona to match the preferences of others, ultimately losing sight of her true identity. She fears that the ongoing body-swapping phenomenon will further erode her sense of self, leading her to fade away entirely. The following day, Taichi musters the courage to confront Himeko, recognizing the need for a heartfelt conversation. Himeko eventually unveils a deep-rooted fear that she cannot trust her friends to resist exploiting the opportunity of inhabiting another person's body for nefarious deeds. This self-loathing weighs heavily on her. Taichi reassures Himeko that she does not need to alter her essence to seek acceptance from others. He shares a closely guarded secret, admitting that he has, at times, experienced lustful thoughts about her and the other girls. This confession touches Himeko's heart, prompting her to gather the courage to open up about her own struggles to the rest of the group. Yoshifumi once again musters the courage to confess his feelings to Yui, only to be met with her gentle decline, as she feels unprepared for romance. Meanwhile, Iori, driven by curiosity, assumes Himeko's identity through a clever ruse, hoping to uncover Taichi's true sentiments towards her. However, her plan backfires when Taichi professes he wants to stay friends with her. A sudden intrusion by Himeko catches them in the act, causing Iori to flee in a whirlwind of embarrassment. Taichi then sets off in pursuit of Iori. He discovers her standing on a bridge, overlooking the flowing river. There, Taichi professes his profound admiration and confesses his love to Iori. However, their tender moment is abruptly shattered when Heartseed seizes control of Iori's body, compelling her to leap into the river below. Iori is then hospitalized and requires intensive care. Heartseed, now inhabiting the body of Ryuzen, presents the group with a harrowing ultimatum. They have a mere 30 minutes to decide among themselves whose soul shall be sacrificed alongside Iori's. Furthermore, they gain the ability to swap bodies at will through verbal request. As Iori undergoes a body swap with Yoshifumi, she becomes aware of the dire circumstances and selflessly offers to sacrifice herself, unwilling to burden anyone else with such a heavy choice. In a series of heartfelt conversations, Iori opens her heart to each member of the group, culminating in a confession of love to Taichi and a kiss exchanged while inhabiting Himeko's body. In a shocking revelation, it is unveiled that Iori managed to survive the tragic incident, leaving the group to grapple with the cruel orchestrations of Heartseed. As Iori recuperates from her injuries and returns to school, the friends assume that the unsettling phenomenon of body swapping has ceased. Meanwhile, Himeko, seeking vengeance for the stolen kiss, plots her retaliation against Taichi. 3 weeks have passed, and with the busy club activities, Taichi and Iori have struggled to find a moment alone to converse. One day, an unexpected encounter unfolds in the clubroom as Taichi and Himeko find themselves in each other's company. However, suddenly Himeko starts to make unwarranted advances towards Taichi. Before things escalate further, their moment is abruptly interrupted by Yui, who accidentally smashes a table. That night, both Taichi and Iori find themselves engaging in inexplicable actions, driven by unconscious impulses. This peculiar turn of events offers them an opportunity to finally address the weighty confession that has lingered between them. The following day brings shocking news from Maiko, revealing that Yui and Yoshifumi have been apprehended by the police. Yui, valiantly defending herself and other girls from unwanted advances, finds herself caught in a brawl, while Yoshifumi attempts to shield her from being taken away. As Taichi, Iori, Himeko, and Yoshifumi discuss the haunting voices that have plagued their thoughts, the enigmatic Heartseed reemerges, shedding light on their predicament. They are thrust into a new phenomenon where their bodies impulsively act upon their deepest desires. In the midst of their deliberations, Himeko conceals her inner doubts, shielding them from the prying eyes of her companions. Later, Iori reaches out to Taichi, delivering a heartfelt message. She proposes that they postpone pursuing a romantic relationship until the mysterious phenomenon subsides. Concerns deepen as Yui remains absent from school following the recent incident, making her friends very worried. Meanwhile, Himeko shares a grave warning with Taichi, cautioning him about the potential danger that lies within his unwavering desire to assist others. The following day, the group gathers to visit Yui. But Yui is burdened by her own fears and anxieties, and she is worried about accidentally hurting others. In a moment of intense emotion, Himeko's suppressed desires break free, and she scolds her friend. Her harsh words cause Yui to break down. Haunted by her outburst, Himeko tries to distance herself from the escalating turmoil. However, Taichi's own desires push him to confront her, and he lectures Himeko for abandoning their friends and succumbing to cowardice. Both Himeko and Taichi retreat, consumed with remorse for their outbursts. Meanwhile, Taichi and Yoshifumi get into a heated argument over their concern for Yui. As they fight, Iori attempts to intervene, but accidentally gets hurt. The following day, as Maiko organizes a class field trip, Iori becomes increasingly troubled by the growing distance between herself, Himeko, and Taichi. Tensions reach a boiling point as a confrontation ensues between Iori and Himeko, threatening to destroy their friendships. In this critical moment, Maiko steps forward, exerting her authority as the class representative. She states her decision that Himeko and Iori will be part of her group, much to Himeko's annoyance. Himeko argues against this, but Maiko forces the matter. Meanwhile, Ryuzen approaches Taichi, requesting his assistance in carrying school equipment. When Taichi asks the teacher for advice, he is told to talk to his friends. Later, Maiko offers her own perspective, encouraging Taichi to reflect on what truly holds significance in his life. Taichi finds himself seeking reconciliation with his friends. He takes the initiative to apologize to Iori, expressing his unwavering commitment to staying by their side. Their friendship repaired, Taichi also manages to mend fences with Yoshifumi. However, Himeko continues to avoid her friends. Drawing inspiration from their body-swapping experience, Taichi and Yoshifumi approach Yui with empathy and reassurance. They convey the belief that their desires can be harnessed and controlled through sheer determination. Together they succeed in persuading Yui to overcome her apprehensions and resume attending school. Meanwhile, an unexpected visitor arrives at Himeko's house. Heartseed arrives and unveils the suppressed emotions that Himeko has concealed, fearing the repercussions they could unleash within the group. Heartseed interrogates Himeko, and in a burst of anger, Himeko demands that Heartseed leave her alone. Weakened by Heartseed's taunting, Himeko struggles to deny the feelings that have emerged from its intervention. Heartseed taunts her, emphasizing how easily he can manipulate her and expressing his anticipation for what lies ahead. As Heartseed departs, he delivers a final warning to Himeko, urging her to abandon her concealment and face her true self. As the school embarks on a mountain field trip, Himeko carries the weight of Heartseed's unsettling revelation. Iori senses Himeko's unease and discovers that Himeko has feelings for Taichi. Since they both like the same boy, Iori confronts Himeko. But in a heartfelt exchange, Himeko reveals she kept away from Taichi so she would not destroy the friendship of the group. Himeko also states that she never wanted to get between Iori and Taichi. Iori reassures Himeko of their friendship and urges Himeko to be less self-deprecating. They also agree to share mutual affections for Taichi and not let their feelings destroy their friendship. But just as they repair their friendship, Heartseed seizes control of Iori's body. Later, Himeko receives word that Taichi has been involved in a terrible accident. But the news was false as Taichi only fell from a tree while rescuing a kitten. Overwhelmed by relief, Himeko seizes the opportunity and confesses her feelings to Taichi. Taichi gently rejects her confession, but Himeko remains resolute that one day she will win over Iori for Taichi's heart. She seals her promise of victory by giving him a kiss. On the eve of winter break, a fresh anomaly emerges. Iori and Yui, for a fleeting period from noon to 5 o'clock in the afternoon, transform into child versions of themselves. When they revert to their original forms, their memories of the incident disappear with only vague memories of what happened. Meanwhile, a different reincarnation of Heartseed appears to Taichi. This time, Heartseed is in his sister Rina's body. The new Heartseed assigns Taichi the role of guardian, charging him with the responsibility of safeguarding the others. Heartseed also orders Taichi to keep his role as secret. The next day, Taichi crosses paths with Yui, entangled in a heated dispute with an old karate rival, Chinatsu, over a promise that Yui forgot. Later the gang assembles, only to find Himeko and Yoshifumi have become children. A youthful Yoshifumi likens Yui to a girl from their past, Nana. Once they have become big again, Yoshifumi struggles with his feelings for both Nana and Yui. The next day, Taichi and Himeko watch over a younger version of Iori, and while they are together they start to deepen their relationship. Later, as the group finds themselves entrusted with the care of a baby Iori, Yui's path intersects with Chinatsu, who challenges her to a karate duel and emerges victorious. Meanwhile, Yoshifumi contemplates the nature of his feelings for Yui, grappling with the possibility that they may stem from her resemblance to Nana. Amidst the New Year's festivities, a transformative phenomenon strikes again, causing Yui to regress to the time shortly after her assault. Upon returning to her normal state, she remembers her bad memories clearly. This causes Yui to lash out against Chinatsu and Yoshifumi, and she accuses Yoshifumi that his crush on her was because of her resemblance to his childhood friend Nana. Yoshifumi defends himself and accuses Yui of running away from her problems. Overwhelmed by their heated exchange, both retreat in remorse. Later, Yui confides in Taichi the promise she made with Chinatsu, that they would reunite at the National Karate Tournament. A promise that Yui cannot fulfill because of her self-perceived weakness and reliance on others. Accompanying Yui home, the others cheer up Yoshifumi and encourage him to clarify his feelings. An encouraged Yoshifumi goes to find Yui to reaffirm his commitment to her, and that his love for Yui is more than her passing resemblance to Nana. This gives Yui the courage to confront her own fears, and to confront her fears head-on, and she begins to work on overcoming her fear of men. Meanwhile, Himeko begins to harbor suspicions that Taichi harbors a secret concealed from the rest of the group. Taichi struggles with the secret that the second Heartseed gave to him, and is reminded that disaster will strike the group if he reveals the secret. The age reversion phenomenon resumes, manifesting at random intervals, this time affecting Taichi as well. To protect themselves, the group retreat together. Iori becomes worried, convinced that her mother Reika is in danger from her estranged husband, a worry triggered by memories from her younger self. Her friends intervene and volunteer their support so she won't face her challenge alone. When they arrive at Reika's house, Iori suddenly becomes an infant. Suddenly, the first Heartseed appears and ends the age reversing. Heartseed offers Iori a chance to go to the past and fix her life, and her friends encourage her. But Iori refuses supernatural help so that she can meet her mother and fix their problems in the present day. With Iori's help, Reika fends off her estranged husband and Iori thanks all her friends for helping her. Meanwhile, Yui apologizes to Chinatsu and promises to meet her in the upcoming karate tournament to fulfill her promise. However, when the group leaves, Iori wonders if her feelings towards Taichi are authentic. The next day, Heartseed constructs a new challenge, where the genuine emotions of the group are shared with one another. The challenge is revealed when Iori declines Taichi's confession. Later on Valentine's Day, Mako suggests that Taichi start dating Himeko, who cares deeply for him. Meanwhile, the club receives news that their group is under threat because their teacher can only be the advisor of a single club. This means that they must compete with the jazz band club for their teacher Ryuzun. While the group is talking, Himeko's affection for Taichi and Iori's rejection of Taichi gets transmitted throughout the group. Himeko tries to confront Iori when Iori's self-centered thoughts also get transmitted. She also becomes aware of Himeko's anger towards her. The two friends try to sort out their thoughts together, and Iori confesses that she is starting to doubt her feelings for Taichi. Later, Taichi and Himeko talk about what has happened, and Himeko scolds Taichi for not telling her that he confessed his feelings for Iori. Although Taichi appreciates Himeko's company, he clarifies that he truly loves Iori. Meanwhile, Yoshifumi's thoughts are transmitted to Yui as well, which start to complicate their relationship. As Iori grapples with her sense of self, she grows distant and cold towards those around her. This becomes evident when she turns down Shoto, a member of the jazz band club. Their classmate Kaoru becomes angry with Iori's coldness, but Iori dismisses Kaoru's threats and unintentionally makes the classmate her enemy. Upon overhearing Himeko's thoughts about disbanding the Student Cultural Society, Taichi realizes that Himeko considers it a potential solution to prevent further interference from Heartseed. However, Taichi promptly recognizes that Himeko doesn't really want to destroy the club. Concerned for Iori's well-being, Yui attempts to reason with her. Yet Iori angrily rebuffs Yui. This unintentionally leads to Yui's frustration towards Iori's changing personality to be revealed to Iori, leading to the Iori breaking off their friendship. Later that evening, as Heartseed approaches Yui, she resolves to reduce her dependence on others and ultimately finds the strength to encourage Taichi to help save Iori. The next day, Himeko tries to comfort Iori, but Iori lashes out, saying that Himeko's selfishness towards Taichi is the root of all their problems. The group tries to make do with winning the battle against the jazz band club without Iori, and Taichi tries to defend her reputation. The Kaoru strikes out against the group by destroying the club's work. Despite their initial disappointment, they rally together and resolve to recreate the project from scratch. Suddenly Iori arrives, and recognizing Kaoru's involvement, she angrily swears revenge on their classmate. Taichi and Himeko intervene to prevent her rampage, and they manage to calm her down. The two try to understand Iori's negative feelings, and after deep conversation realize that Iori has been feeling tremendous stress from the Heartseed incidents. Iori has felt so pressured that she can't keep a happy mask on anymore, and Himeko tells her that she shouldn't be concerned about what other people think about her, and live her own life. Taichi also tells Iori that he loves her even if she is not using her happy persona. Iori asks for time alone and leaves, but later Himeko is confronted by a group of boys and is kidnapped. As Taichi, Yui, and Yoshifumi receive the emotional transmission revealing Himeko's abduction, they try to rescue her. Meanwhile, Iori struggles with her confrontation with Himeko and Taichi. Ultimately, she decides to take their advice and live as her authentic self. As the others engage in a fierce confrontation against the boys responsible for Himeko's kidnapping, one of them threatens Himeko. Just in time, Iori arrives to save Himeko and disable the attacker. Kaoru then offers a sincere apology for the destruction she has created. Recognizing Kaoru as another person who used different personas in public, Iori consoles Kaoru, and the two strike a friendship. But as the group head home, one last attacker reveals himself, and Taichi takes a hit for Himeko. This leads to a heartfelt exchange between Taichi and Iori to restart their friendship, and encourages Taichi to ask Himeko out instead. Meanwhile, Iori encounters Heartseed, who announces the end of the phenomenon. Iori accuses him of manipulating her against her friends, but he simply states that all the participants have learned and grown throughout the process. Meanwhile, their club is saved when Ryuzen approves of their presentation. Maiko tells the group her father has apprehended the kidnappers, assuring that they will no longer pose a threat. And finally, Taichi and Himeko begin dating, with Iori mending her friendships with the rest of the group as the club enters a new year together in high school. And this is all for this video. Make sure to subscribe if you enjoyed it, and I will see you in the next one.